Hello, 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 and welcome to today's episode of Her Version. This podcast is dedicated to sharing stories of struggle to triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit the subscribe button, follow, like, and share. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. Let's jump right in. Thank you for joining us today for Her Version. The Her Version platform is built on storytelling and the understanding that many times our greatest learning experiences come from learning from other people's stories. Today, I am speaking with an amazing woman named Brittney King. Brittney is the owner and creator of Pain Painter Poetry and is here today to share a story of breaking cycles from generational dysfunction. She is the first generation to graduate high school and go off to college. She has learned to overcome setbacks, explore her pain, and find her own revelations. We are excited to hear what she has to say. Welcome, Brittney.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
So I want to ask you, throughout your journey from where you started to where you are now, what was your biggest challenge? What's the biggest struggle that you've gone through? And then what did you learn from that challenge?
So, with my struggle, the thing that led to my struggle in 2016, I lost my brother. He was killed, and I didn't realize how it had affected me. Normally, I'm known as like this strong person, but slowly but surely, I started cutting everybody off and just not being present. And eventually, when I decided I did want to kind of come back into the world, I started dealing with the wrong people. So, my biggest challenge was overcoming just having these strongholds to people and trying to find happiness in people, and they were actually draining me. So I overcame it just learning to love myself. I went through a lot of damage in relationships as far as family, friends, and romance, and I was just accepting things that I shouldn't have accepted because I didn't know what love should look like or what love was. And if we all have the same idea that love hurts or whatever, I was allowing myself to be hurt when I should have walked away from situations. So that was my biggest challenge, just being able to walk away from relationships that I shouldn't have anything to do with.
I love that. What happened to your brother?
So he was killed. My brother was like a popular guy in the hood, the streets. But I guess, when you make it out from doing certain things and you elevate your life and you still hanging with the wrong crowd, some people don't like that. So somebody shot and killed him in 2016. Yeah.
Wow. Were you close to him?
Yes, that was my rock. That's why my life changed afterwards, because when you're so used to being able to call someone or see someone or go out of town with someone, and then overnight it's like not able to happen anymore, it's like, what do I do with my life now? And I know that life has to go on, but how do you go on when a intricate part of your life is missing? That's why it was really big challenge, and I didn't realize how it affected me. I became like a zombie in the world, and the only thing I did daily was go to work, but I was already programmed to do that, and it kind of affected my stay in Washington DC a lot, because I didn't make any friends, because it happened the first year I moved down here. I was always going back home, and then he passed away, so I wasn't in a position to try to get out and make friends or whatever. I just became shelled.
Wow. I'm so sorry. How old was he?
He was 33.
Oh, that's so young.
Yeah, very young.
So he was starting to kind of like pull himself out of that crowd and trying to do better, and then that happened.
Yes, and that happens to a lot of young Black men when you grow up in a certain environment and you make it past your environment. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't know how to love, and that love becomes anger and turn into jealousy. And instead of you finding your own way, you take the way from somebody else.
Wow. That actually, I can see that. And that makes sense,
Mhm.
unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, not knowing how to love.
Exactly.
Wow, you put that so clearly. That was perfect. That's unfortunate that you were able to put that so perfectly because it just goes to show
Yeah, it
how
happens. It
true it
happens.
is.
I lost a lot of people along the way, but my aunt passed away in 2010, and I didn't think it could get worse than her, but she passed away from cancer. So it was like, okay, it was a build up to her death, so I was able to process it. But my brother died instantly, and it was just like, that's my best friend. So
Wow.
life still isn't the same, and it's still emotional, but I have a baby girl now, and I have to live for her. So I can't be affected by it in a negative way. I try to more so celebrate him
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's awesome that you're able to do that. I want to ask, as far as in these hurdles that you've gone through and these challenges, it seems as if you've done some pretty hefty personal development or personal growth. What's your view on developing mentally and emotionally?
So my view is, don't be scared to outgrow people. Don't be scared to outgrow things, because the world is constantly changing and people change. I told you I used to have. I'm like a leech. I love and I love hard, and when I love you, regardless of what you do, it's hard for me to let you go. But if you don't grow, you won't elevate. Sometimes people in your environment, they hinder you, and sometimes their idea of love is not what you need, and you'll continue to get hurt. But I just feel like sometimes you just got to walk away. And those relationships, if they're meant to be, they'll come back full circle. And just to give you more ideal on that, with my child's father, we went through a roller coaster. When I first met him, he was like the man of every woman's dreams. But things change. And instead of me taking him at face value, like this is who he is, I kept hunting for that person. I kept wishing that person would return. And at the time, it was degrading me more and more, until I lost myself. I no longer knew who I was. I no longer knew what I wanted out of life. I was so busy trying to search for him, losing myself instead of walking away. And once I walked away wholeheartedly, I do think he's trying to get better, not as my man, but as a father of my child. Because honestly, he did spend time incarcerated as well. And I didn't know the effect that institutions really have on people. And now he didn't know either, until now he's like more past it. And I had never dated anybody who did any jail time. So I didn't know, like, hey, this guy is somebody else. He's programmed to be somebody else. And I'm trying to fight through these walls that I didn't build, but I'm hurting myself doing it. And I just became, a robot all over again. So just being able to grow, me being able to find how to love myself, me just talking myself through it kind of just gave me a lot of strength, because even while I was trying to I knew that I was lost. I acknowledged that I was lost. That was the first foundation for me, just realizing, hey, you're in a terrible situation and you need to get out. You need to get back. And having a child, I was not going to expose my child to a lot of the stuff that I was even willing to put up with, to be honest.
How did you find out or realize, like earlier in the podcast, you were saying that you didn't know what real love was or something like that? At what point during that relationship did you have an aha moment where you're like, wait a minute, this is not correct. I need to get out of this. What
To be
happened?
honest, I knew the first sign that he did something, but for some reason, to be honest, I always wondered, like, why did women stay with men they shouldn't be with? And then I became that woman. Like, why am I still here? But I had to learn how to love myself. When I was growing up, I didn't see what a healthy relationship looked like. I knew what I didn't want, but I didn't know what I wanted. So when I received what I didn't want or didn't need, I wasn't able to walk away because I wasn't it wasn't nurtured. I wasn't shown like, hey, if this happens, you need to is flight, take flight.
Yeah.
Don't fight, take flight. So I all the while I was in a relationship, even though I stopped complaining, that was the first thing I did, because I used to complain about all the things I want. You need to do this, you need to do that. We know how that goes, and it never happens. Y'all make up to break up. But I stopped complaining and I started focusing on myself. And when I started to focus on myself more and more, that's when I was able to make it out, because that person could no longer feed me. I was no longer fulfilled by anything that he did or anything that anyone else did. And to be honest, when I left him alone, I was able to leave other people alone, friendships, family, because it wasn't supportive of me. And when I was with him, I always had the mindset, hey, if I could stay with him, then I could forgive them, because why would I stay with some no good dude? And in my family, these are my family members. These are my lifelong friends. How can I put them? But when I was able to leave him alone, I was able to just drop all baggage.
Wow. That's powerful.
Yep.
That's powerful that you were able to, first of all, do that. And second of all, see it so clearly, because I think a lot of times people don't see, I know I didn't see it. I thought I stayed way too long in a very bad relationship because I just didn't know that it was bad.
I stayed too long, and I knew. So I don't know which one is worse. I stayed, even though, okay, so well, I stayed a couple years. That's like too much of my life for me.
Yeah.
To grow, to just be growing with somebody and not growing.
Yeah. I love that you're saying that you just stopped complaining, because I think that that is such a key to moving past, spending so much time talking about what we don't want.
Exactly.
And then you took a step and you stopped doing that part and you started concentrating on things that you do want. That's like everything. That's everything.
Exactly. And if whatever he was lacking, if I knew that I needed or deserved it, I would do it for myself. I wasn't going to say, how come you didn't do this? Why did you do that? No, because when you complain, it just makes things worse. I just try to look for the good in everything. And if he wasn't around, that was a blessing to me. That was peace of mind to me, because I knew that if I left him, it would hurt. But I knew if I stayed with him, it would hurt forever. So I would rather go through a temporary pain and get to peace than to go through a pain forever and never even experience love, joy, or peace.
Yeah, definitely. And does your daughter get to see him?
Yeah, she sees him. She's a girl. It's something about daddy's girls for real, because even when she went a while without seeing him, she's just so joyful to be around him. So that's why I said take time to find yourself, because when you continue to complain to a person and they don't make changes, they know they don't have to make changes, because all you're going to do is complain. You're not going to, they know they don't have to follow up, because they're taking you at face value, like, oh, she just tripping. And it's not mattering what they do, because they know you're going to continue to be with them, because you've shown them what you'll put up with time and time again. So when I was really at a point where it was like, I went through a huge phase of having his number blocked, not communicating with him. He would even email me. I'm like, no, you need to man up. My daughter will not. When it comes to children, they learn from their mother first. Women learn how to be treated by a man. Boys learn how to treat a woman through their mom. And I just always knew, like, I can't do this to my daughter. I wanted to break generational curses. That's always been a part of my identity. I have to start anew. So I had to cut him off for a while. And when I allow him back into my life or my daughter's life, if he's still on foolishness, I cut him off again. And until he could get it right, it's like, hey, I'm better off as a single parent with no help than two dysfunctional parents. And I know that for a fact.
Yeah. So powerful. So powerful. Definitely. I want to ask, one of the biggest issues, in and amongst the her version community and all of the females who are expanding, into this community of women right now, we're all going through something. We're all going through some sort of challenge, some sort of issue, some more so than others. And some of them are just now stepping into personal development. They don't even know about this stuff. So I kind of want to ask, with your personal experience, when you were kind of stepping out of the old Brittney and into the Brittney that you're now creating for yourself, what were like the first few steps that you personally took to get from darkness and walking towards the light?
The first step, in which I do believe is the most important step, is forgiving myself. I was less angry at the people that hurt me and more mad at myself for allowing myself to be hurt. So I had to figure out how to forgive myself. Another thing I did was reflect on the past, not the negative past, but the past that I loved me. Where did I feel like I had the most fulfillment in life? And I just tried to manifest that person, but a better person. So I even would listen to the music that I listened to in that era of time. So if it was 2009 that I liked myself, I listened to the music that I liked in 2009, just trying to recapture that feeling. I listened to motivational music in general, and I goal cast it every morning. At least 5 minutes listening to somebody. You can literally Google how to get over someone, how to let go. And I just used to manifest it and meditate. And I wrote out what type of woman I want to be, what things do I want to see in myself. And I still continue to read those things. I always go back, because the minute you forget you're on a growth path, you will fall back. So it's just constant. Even in those happy moments, I just take a moment to give thanks. Thank you for getting me here, because it takes a lot of strength. I know it does, especially now. Now that I've dealt with someone, and mentally, physically, emotionally, all the types of abuse you can think of, it's like I have to be a constant reminder. Hey, you've exposed yourself. And now you have to remold yourself. So I just always try to do positive things. I got rid of all negative self-talk. I didn't say, oh, I can't do this. It's hard. No, it's going to happen. And I'm thankful in advance. And I always give thanks, because, hey, I'm back and I'm better now. And I still have a lot of growth that has to take place, but at least I'm just more knowledgeable of it, just always being aware of it, not being aware to a point where it could depress you, but try to see yourself in a different realm, in a different circle, in a different atmosphere. What do you like? Find out what you like. If it's something simple as keeping my nails done, if I look down on my hands and they're ugly, I gotta go get my nails done. Your outer appearance matters. If it matters to you, then keep it up. Keeping a clean house. When your environment is dirty, your mind is dirty. Your mind is clouded. Your mind matches your environment. So it's so much easier for me to focus in a clean environment. I'm just always trying to take notes. I'm always going back and reading my notes, because it's tough. It's tough. And then, especially when you're dealing with tough people who don't necessarily understand, like, why is she sad about this? Why won't she just leave? Or why is she doing this? And then you got to go to work and put on a whole different face. So just being mindful is the best advice, and forgiving yourself, because we're only human. I always thought I was superhuman. I came through from so much. I mean, I've been homeless before. I've been poor. I've been this. But in a relationship that I got in, that exposed me to my greatest weaknesses. And I'm thankful, because now when I do allow myself to embrace another man, if he's not the right one, I'm taking flight.
We're taking flight. Yes. I want you said something really interesting in the beginning of that, where you said you give thanks in advance.
Yes.
I think I know what that means, and I love it. But can you expand on that just a little bit for the audience?
Okay, sure. So I feel like the universe is for us, right? And I don't know if you believe in God or not, but there's a God in us as well. And when you begin to imagine a more fulfilled life, you just embrace it and give I literally say thank you. Thank you, because I know that it's coming. When you can feel something, when you can taste something, when you can just be able to visualize it, it's going to happen faster and better for you. So just being able to, and part of being able to give thanks, because some people don't know how to give thanks, you have to be grateful for whatever you have. You can't be pessimistic. You can't consider, oh, but I need this, because I'm in a city. I don't have any family down here. It's just me and my daughter for the most part. But I'm grateful because I still know that it's people that have way less than me. And I know that I have so much opportunity. There's so many resources. I'm thankful for the resources to get better. I'm thankful for the opportunity. And I'm thankful because now I'm able to dream, I can imagine the life that I want. So I'm giving thanks before it even happened, because it's gonna taste so good.
Yeah. And, everything that you're talking about, I want to emphasize everything that we've gone over so far is free to us. In the library, like you said, on YouTube, the internet, all you have to do is just do a simple Google search and look for individuals who are talking about mindset, who are talking about personal development. And all of that is at our fingertips on our phone for free.
It is.
We can start moving towards, a more healthy mindset, which is what you're talking about right now.
Exactly, because it all starts in the mind. And I tell this story a million times. Imagine if Harriet Tubman never thought about freedom, because some people couldn't imagine being free. She was a slave. She didn't see free slaves, but she not only had the mindset to free herself, she had the mindset to free others. And you just have to believe enough in yourself, believe enough in the power of the universe that whatever you're asking for, it's going to come. Now, faith without works is dead. You have to work towards it. Like I said, you have to be mindful of it all the time. And you can never speak negativity over it. Always know it's coming. That's why sometimes when I deal with other women, they say they leaving their dude. I'm never like, oh, you going back. Because even though it's probably a good chance that they will. But every time they say they're done, I'm showing an equal amount of support, because I think that women go through so much. When they go back to a man, people start losing faith in them. Like, hey, she going back, instead of just being like, well, I hope it's true this time. I'm putting my faith in you. I'm not going to speak negativity on anyone else, and I'm not going to speak negativity on myself. All I can do is hope and pray and wish that everything you desire comes to you. Just like everything I hope and wish, I pray and my desires come true.
Yeah, 100%.